what can you take from here, combining the best of what you learned here, and take it back to Japan and apply that to the system, to the journalism system in Japan? Is there any lever, any weight you can push to that system?
Well, pretty much everything I learned here is not available yet in Japanese schools. So if I could, for instance, teach at higher educational institutions, that would be one thing that I can really contribute to, at least aware consciousness about the readings and all that. So maybe teaching is the best way to bring back my knowledge and share with other people. And maybe work for publishing companies, but I think it's not really what I want. I think teaching probably is my, I don't know. But
that's good. That's good. But you come here and you find out what the passion is, which is important. It sounds like that there are differences and similarities both ways, but that's part of what the Ambassadorial Scholarship Program is about, is you're learning the differences in terms of journalism. What about the cultural differences? For example, I don't think that your hometown is very much like Los Angeles in terms of the size, in terms of the population, the culture. So what are the best things about Tsuruga and Haguro, where you grew up? Different. What about your parents? What do they do? What's their background?
Both of my parents are artists, and so I think my bring up is not particularly common in terms of how my parents made money and all that, and also most of the people in my town are farmers, so it's really different. And I used to really envy other people because my parents were too unique and probably kind of like, not creepy, but just being too unique. And so I always wanted to have, like farmers, just nice common life in Yamagata. But one thing I noticed is that we really know neighbors really well. Because they know, my neighbors knew that my parents are not growing rice. So like it happens quite often that we come back from somewhere and then we find just bag of rice like waiting for us in front of my house, or like cucumbers or carrots waiting for us to, so, but if that happens even in Tokyo or like here, people wouldn't eat it because you don't know what's in there.
Yes.
So it's a huge difference. Like you really trust other people there, and you can kind of guess who brought that just by looking at the bags. So here and bigger city in Japan, there is anonymity. Like you don't know who you are talking to, or I didn't even know who lived right next to my condo in Tokyo. So I think that's the best part of my own town.
More of a feeling of community.
Mm-hmm.
None of my neighbors has ever put rice in.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Although I did get very good brownies from a neighbor a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Good, but we know them, and nothing bad has happened so far.
That's
did
good.
your parents ever say thank you by leaving artwork at the neighbors' doors? And did they eat the artwork? I have to ask.
Well, they didn't just leave it there, which is also it's fragile. So, but when they have like weddings, like some sort of like occasions, my parents often afford to give their art pieces to them so they can send that as gifts or something. So it's like both ways, not just receiving.
Mm-hmm. Now, my question is about a little bit more of your Rotary experience here in Los Angeles and in our district. You've been to a lot of the different Rotary clubs, not counting Sherman Sunset, because obviously it's the best club you've been to. What has been your most interesting experience at any of the Rotary clubs that you've been to? What really grabbed you? None of these questions was prepared. Sarah does not know what she's going to be asked tonight. I've hidden some in envelopes sealed. I don't even know what they are then.
I know like between me and Mel, the automobile company talk was prohibited. But one time, people asked me because I think I mentioned about the recession here in the United States, and then somebody asked me about the automobile industry in Japan, and they asked me how is it different in Japan, how they treat you when the time is bad, the economy is bad, and that was heated debate going on because people, of course, like have emotions about Japanese car industry coming to the U.S. and taking over like factories and all that. And I noticed like I thought there was something that people were interested, but also some areas that I never really paid attention to. That was car industry, and also I studied journalism here in the U.S. Had uh, Japan bashing period in 1980s. So I guess those people who asked questions actually went through those periods. So there was, I noticed there were a lot of things in their mind about Japan, and also a lot of things I don't ever think about my own country. So it was interesting to see what kind of like images Rotarians have in their mind, and also I noticed that I don't know if that's the entire United States, but I think it's true for Rotary clubs here in California that they are really dedicated to doing something volunteerable instead of just talking and well, it's also coming from my experience in Tsuruoka Rotary. They do a lot of scholarships. They send at least like 6 people abroad a year, so they have a lot of funding, but I don't think they're as active as here because in terms of volunteer activities. Maybe it's just Yamagata province. I don't know about the other provinces, but so it's the difference between here and my club, my Rotary club in Hong.
One of the most interesting aspects of traveling in the district with Sarah when she's gone to her speaking engagements is seeing the Rotarians made to think by what Sarah was saying, but also seeing Sarah made to think by some of what she was hearing from the Rotary clubs.